Hi, this is Tranisha Cottrell, and today I wanted to talk about self-critical. So, what made me want to talk about being self-critical is earlier today I took a self-awareness course, and it was really informative. I learned a lot of information about, being aware of yourself, knowing what it is that you bring to the table, knowing who you really truly are, being true to yourself and understanding that sometimes the things that you think are going to be the thing that people don't like about you could end up being the thing that the person ends up liking about you, or the thing that makes them want to purchase things from you or buy from you or talk to you, or it'll draw in the right type of people because you'll be your authentic self. And so when I was learning about being self-aware, it really dawned on me, and I had this epiphany during the day while I was just going through my life. I was going through this stage of my life where I'm in my waiting season. I'm waiting, when it comes to the position I'm in some other area of my life, and I'm also waiting in the area of my single season. And so it made me think about how it's really easy to become self-critical and really want to think of yourself in a negative way, or to think of the things that you're doing wrong, or the things that, like, maybe if I wouldn't have said this, I could have done it this way or that way, or just being so self-critical and scrutinizing yourself that it ends up becoming negative self-talk. The next thing you know, you go down this rabbit hole of negative emotions and being ungrateful and feeling as if as if God owes you something when he doesn't owe you anything. You're being obedient and you're walking in your purpose because you're doing it for God. You're doing it for his because of his grace. You're doing it because he loves you. You're not doing it for a benefit. You're not doing it because God says that you're going to get the position that he had prepared for you. You're not doing it because God said that you're going to make the type of friendship connections that will put you in a position in your life that will be substantial. You're not doing it because God said that he's going to send a man or a woman your way. You're doing it because you want to be obedient and because you love God, not for any other reason. And I think it's really important for us to remember the reason behind the things that we do in life and why we are intentionally disciplining ourselves. I'm not disciplining myself because it's fun. It's not fun at all being disciplined. It really is hard. It takes hard work. You really have to be willing to sacrifice things in your life, even things that you want for the good of God. And it's not always an easy decision because the adversary makes things so tempting that you don't need or that aren't good for you. And sometimes we feel like, oh my gosh, like, is it worth it? But it is worth it. But you have that thought, that that 0.01 second of a thought of, is it really worth it? Like, is it worth me treating people kindly? Is it worth me leading with love in every situation? Is it worth me being a good woman? And when I say good woman, I don't mean that I'm putting myself in some sort of position that no one else has placed me in. I mean that I'm obedient to God. I'm submissive to God first above everything else. And I lead with love and kindness. I have flaws. There are things that I do wrong. I am no perfect person at all. I don't mean me being a good woman means that I'm going to be perfect and I don't have flaws or issues or things that I can always improve upon. I will always have things that I need to work on to be a better person. The growing never ends. The learning never ends. The knowledge is always out there for me to learn more. It's not just that, oh, I'm a good woman, that's it. People just need to come how they come and be the best. Like, I would want someone to really treat me right. I would want the job that's going to appreciate me. I would want the friendship that would be reciprocal. But that does not mean that that's what you get just because you said you wanted it at that moment. Now, there are standards that you can have and boundaries to make sure that the people in your life do treat you the right way. But I don't go about it that way because I'm expecting something. And sometimes it is easy to feel like you expect things because you're doing the right thing. But God is not blessing you because you expect something. He's blessing you because he loves you. And I think we really have to look deep within ourselves and figure out what it is that's making us feel that way, just like the seminar earlier. when the life coach, when TG was doing his seminar earlier, and he was talking about really figuring out what it is that made you feel that way. Like constantly asking yourself questions to be self-aware. It really, it was so helpful because when I'm thinking about things in my life or I'm thinking about something, I can just say, oh, that just made me feel frustrated and leaving it there. But he talks about thinking about it in a deeper way. Like, okay, you're frustrated. Why are you frustrated? You're frustrated because of this. What makes you feel frustrated? Or what was it that led to this? And then you just keep on diving deeper and deeper to get to the root of why you feel frustrated or why this bothered you that much. And I think it's so good for us to implement that in our life, to use that because it will allow us to figure out our emotions for ourselves instead of having to vent to someone about everything every day or or feeling like we want to be feeling bad for ourselves. Instead of feeling bad for ourselves and being out of control, we have like this nice little box that we can put our emotion in. And not that we're boxing it off and not dealing with it. We're dealing with the exact precise moment that we feel that way, why we feel that way, what made us feel that way, what's going on around us, what type of emotions we're feeling, what led us to this, things like that that really help you pinpoint it. And it's something about having a name for something that frustrated you or being able to pinpoint it that really puts things into perspective. And it allows you to grow. It allows you to become a better person. And it really helps you build emotional intelligence. I don't think they said that in the seminar, but when I was thinking about the course, I I thought about how I thought about how just when we're in life and we're thinking about how things bother us or things are agitating us or how things don't go our way and we might feel upset. Okay, we feel upset because we didn't get our way. Like it needs to be bigger than that. It can't just be you let one thing ruin your whole day because you felt a certain type of way about something. You can't allow one person to have that much control over your life. And the more that I'm out here in these streets, and I don't mean it in that way because I talked to one of my family members and they're like, when you say that, do you mean it in this way? And I'm like, absolutely not. That's what I'm not what I'm talking about. I mean like really out in the real world, really doing things the way that trying to walk the straight and narrow and you're out here like with all of the influences around you, but you're still making whatever decisions it is that you need to make for yourself. Is what I mean when I say that. And when I talk about my past, it's still like being worldly. It's not just doing the most. And so it really I think we have to be really mindful of when we're being self-aware that we're not being self-critical, that we are not trying to beat up on ourselves and make ourselves feel badly. We're not saying, "Oh, we did this thing wrong and so now we just have to do all of this we have to do all of this negative self-talk towards ourselves and I said towards ourselves and self-talk, but you know what I mean." And it's just burying us. It's really lowering our self-esteem. It's making us feel a certain type of way. It is hindering our growth. And being self-aware just means acknowledging your flaws and appreciating your flaws and working through the things that you're doing that you know could be an issue so that you could become a better person. I had a conversation with one of my family members earlier, and we were just talking about, like single life, and they're not single. They're in a relationship and stuff like that, in a serious relationship. And so we're talking about relationships and it's a guy. So this is a whole nother perspective. It's not my perspective. And we're talking about relationships and what to look out for and the things that I've been going through. And I didn't just like spew a whole bunch of information to tell anyone's business or anything like that. I just talked on my perspective and how I've been feeling and the things that I've been going through and the things that I have had to deal with or not had to deal with that I chose to deal with because we all have a choice. You can either sit there and take it or walk away. And so I was just talking about where I was in my life, the things that I've been going through, how I've been feeling, all of these things. And he suggested a few things to me, and then I told him how I was feeling about certain scenarios in my life. And and he was just saying like, no, don't think about it like that. You need to think about it like this. And it really made me think about the self-awareness and self-critical thing when I said it, because, and this is just me being real, is when I am single and there might be someone that I meet or someone that, I talk to or get to know or whatever else. Let's just say it's just this random person that I know and we just have one conversation or something. And the conversation is okay or it's bad. It's a good conversation, but they are absolutely not what I'm looking for. And so, and I don't mean it in that way like I'm putting down that person. I just mean like some of the things that people say, they really try it. And I'm really like, I'm not that type of woman. So you got to find somebody else that's going to be that type of person. And so and I mean that in the most kind way. I don't mean that in a I'm trying to be disrespectful and say, all men are blah. I'm just saying that some men really will try you. I mean, they really try it. They really do. And I was telling my family member that when I have conversations with some of these people and like in the conversation when they say something that's bold, that's really expressive, that I'm like, ugh, like, not that I don't want someone to be communicative. I would obviously want them to communicate very well. I also don't want to be disrespected. Just because you can communicate doesn't mean that you have to say something that's disrespectful to communicate how you feel or things about yourself. And so when people say something vulgar or something that's like so disrespectful, and they might not even think it's disrespectful. They could just think that most women accept it. So this is just acceptable, and it's not. And so they'll say something like that, and I was telling my family member the first thing I'll think, and this is just me, most women probably don't think like this, they're probably just going on with their business or whatever else, but I will immediately think, what am I doing wrong? What is wrong with me that I keep attracting people that are like this, that feel like they can say something like this, or that really feel like I would be okay with something like this. And they're not all saying the same thing, it's all different things, but like one of them will be disrespectful, another one will say something that I could see how they could think that it's not disrespectful, but it is. Like they'll say something that is on the same level as a dog, but not the B word, but they'll say something like behavior wise that's kind of like you know that you should obey them or something like that. That's so ridiculous. And I'm a random person. I'm not your wife or anything like that. So I don't know why you would feel like that would be appropriate to say to me, but but it's just so crazy. And when I say obey, please don't take that as a slave. And that might be like one of them terms that YouTube might not like or whatever else. And I don't mean it so that I can like bleep out certain things in the video or anything like that. But but I do not mean it in that way. I mean respect for one another. I do not mean that you got to be someone's servant at all. And so so when people say things like that, I'm just like, the audacity. What? Like, whew, that behooves me. I cannot believe that this person would feel like that was an appropriate statement to say to a random person that they barely know. But I mean, I guess when you have so many people behind you rallying, saying that people just are going to fall in line and accept anything, and because women are desperate and they just are going to constantly just be at your beck and call or whatever else. I kind of get why men would be brave enough to do that, but mm, I'm gonna be single. I don't want to speak this out into the universe, but and mm, it makes it really hard for me personally, because I'm more like I try not to think of it like someone else is doing something wrong. I try to think of it like, okay, obviously I'm coming off as a person who's easy to talk to, which is good because I would rather them say that they expect me to obey them in the first conversation than to say it 3 months later when I started catching feelings or something. Like I would obviously want that more than anything else. I would obviously want a guy to say something vulgar and disrespectful the first time. And then if I say, hey, that's completely inappropriate, I don't appreciate it, then I would hope that they would change and not do it again. But if that's who they are and they feel like that's acceptable, then I would obviously rather them say that in the first conversation or the first week of communicating than to say it 3 to 6 months later. So it's definitely a blessing. I mean, I pray for the power of discernment, but oh God, I did not expect that. And then, but the sad thing is, like, one gentleman who's actually a decent human being, I pushed away because I wasn't ready at the time. And so now it's like I'm being punished because, oh, and so I can't help but to beat up on myself and just be like, sometimes, not all the time. I have like my moment. It's not like an all the time thing. And so I have a moment and it's just like, really? Like if you would have just got it together the first time, then things would have been totally different. And not that, I would have, created this whole future with this person or anything like that because I barely know them. But and it also would have been a breath of fresh air because it wouldn't have been me feeling disrespected and like people saying vulgar and disrespectful and inappropriate things like it's just normal. Like, I mean, I guess and during these times it might be normal because I see people accept everything. And it really it dumbfounds me when I see people do that, when I see people just be like, okay, you know, and it's so contagious. That's why you have to be careful who you lend your ear to and what you're seeing because those things really can penetrate your soul and your mind and your spirit. You can think it doesn't affect you, but when you start settling, it's because of the music. It's because of the people around you who are saying, oh, yeah, just go ahead and do this. When you know that's not in your character, that's not what you want to do. When you see people saying, oh, yeah, we just only text or we only call every once in a while or whatever other kind of excuse they want to give the men and women out here, like we really need to do the bare minimum. I really feel like we need to be doing better than that. If we want better, if we want a relationship that's going to be healthy, that's going to be where we're getting the things that we need, then we're going to actually have to get the things that we need. We can't just settle for something that we don't want at all, and then years later get mad because the person's behaving the same way they acted in the beginning. Like, we really have to look within ourselves and be self-aware, knowing exactly what it is that we want, why we want it, and explain what it is that we want. I'm not saying you got to be demanding and over the top and do the most like I did at the beginning because I had no idea what to expect or what to do and I just assumed that people were going to treat me right because I wanted to be treated right and because I did a lot of training and because I knew who I was. But just because I feel like I deserve to be treated a certain way or you deserve to be treated a certain way doesn't mean that any person that you meet, which I learned, doesn't mean that any person that you meet is going to treat you the way that you are supposed to be treated. They learn how to treat you by how you respond, the things that you do, the boundaries that you set, the standards that you set for yourself. Like, people learn how to treat you. And you can say that you're just, it's better than most of the people settling for this. But if you know that the bare minimum is not good enough for you, then it's not good enough for you. It's never going to be good enough for you. There's nothing that you can do to change your mind, no matter how many people around you are settling. You just won't be able to. And if you're like me, like the little things that I lagged on that were really, really, really important to me, like it really made me feel like I was selling my soul. It made me feel like I wasn't myself. It made me insecure. It weakened my mental state. It really took a hit on me mentally, physically, and emotionally because I was willing to just bend a little. And I know most people on these videos wouldn't tell that because they would try to make it seem like they're so strong and so brave and they just do all the right things all the time. But I'm not that person. You know, I'm more transparent. And I try to keep it real because I'm a real human being and I'm going to mess up. I just am. That's what I'm going to do. So I can't sit here and pretend like I got it all figured out and I do everything right. I just do the best that I can every single day. That's it. That's all I do. And I hope that that's good enough. Sometimes, you know, I mess up and you can't change the past. You know, I have that video that says never too late. It's never too late to do better. And for me, in one of my situations, not in a situationship or anything like that, but something that I've done wrong in the past, it may be too late for that situation because I said the wrong things, I did the wrong things, I bended, I didn't keep my standards, I wasn't the person that I thought I was going to be when I was out here. Like, it sounds good in theory, but in reality, it's really hard. It's hard to be around a group of people that's doing the wrong thing and do something right without feeling like you want to lean in a little bit. It really is. And it's hard to be the only person with standards when everyone around you is just settling. It's hard to convince yourself to keep speaking life into yourself and say that you deserve better when everyone else that's settled thinks that this is normal and they want you to just settle just like they did. It's hard when you know that you deserve someone who's really trying to pursue you, and everyone else is saying, oh, well, you know, we just text occasionally, every once in a while, or, you know, they call every once in a while, but I want someone who's really interested in me. I don't want someone who feels like I'm nothing to them. I don't want someone who feels like I'll never be important enough for them to even try to pursue or put in any initiative or even try at all. Like, I don't want that type of person. And it's so sad because even the good guys do it. And see, I was gonna try to hold it together in this video. I think I'm good. I think it passed. It might be fine. But even the good guys do it. If you don't set a standard for even the good guys, they will try you and they will crush you. So get ready and be prepared because it's real out here in these streets. It's not like a game at all. I mean, it's a game. Of course, everybody's playing a game, trying to win and blah. But but it is so real out here. And when you're a woman, if you're not strong, that person will break you. And they will treat you however you accept to be treated. And they don't care if it makes you feel insecure or jealous or if they're hurting you or if it's making you feel a certain type of way. The only thing they care about is the fact that it's easy for them. That's it. It doesn't matter how good the guy is or how bad the guy is. They will do the exact same thing. And I'm not saying that it makes the good guy bad because he's giving you the bare minimum. You required the bare minimum. So of course he's going to take the easy way out. It's not saying that he's a bad guy because he did that. That's on you. And so when we really are self-aware, when we acknowledge our part in things, when we really realize, hey, you know, everyone else is doing this and they're settling and this is how it's working out for them and they seem like they're okay. I don't know what's going on behind closed doors. I don't know if that guy is really treating her right or if he's pretending like it because she done told everybody her story about how, you know, she barely did anything and she got this guy to be with her and she was blowing him up or whatever other crazy thing that sounds super desperate and in need of a man or a woman or whatever else. Like, they say their story and the next thing you know they go home and either, you know, they're getting, you know, something's happening like that, or they have to deal with all of this heartache and pain alone because they can't tell anybody because they're trying to pretend like settling worked and it didn't. The only thing it did was get them to be good pretenders at faking it and making it seem like everything's okay when it's not. And I don't want to have a fake relationship. I don't want any type of fake friendship or fake romantic relationship in my life ever. And I know I say that in this video, and I pray God give me the strength and the women and men out here that are really good people, that are really trying to meet somebody who is intentional, who really, you know what I've been through in the past. So it's not that I'm I'm tearing up because I feel like there's no hope. I feel like there is hope. And I know that God will make a way out of no way. It's not that I don't think that He'll make it happen. It's just that weird in between stage when you are like, I'm focused on my business. I'm focused on, working and doing all the things that I do, spending time with my family, spending time with my friends, doing things for myself, self-care. Like, my schedule is jam-packed. It's not that I have a moment of like I'm just sitting there and I just have time to just focus on all of these things that don't really matter in life or anything like that. It's just that while I'm in this in-between stage before I meet the person that is supposed to be with me or something like that, it sucks. I know there's other women that probably say that, but it really does suck because you don't know the hour or the minute or the day that it's going to happen. And the people that you meet in between, man, I wish, I wish I would have been more realistic when I was thinking about what it was going to be like when I started dating because I feel like it would have helped me so much. Like, in my head, this is how it played out in my head. This is what I was going to do. So I was like, okay, I know who I am. I love myself. I am beautiful. I'm smart. I'm well educated, which smart can be like street smart and book smart. So that's why I said both. And I have a good head on my shoulders. I was raised right. I I learned from my lessons. I acknowledge all of my mistakes. I realize that I have flaws and that I'm not perfect. I'm constantly working on bettering myself. I communicate really well with most people. I can work on communication skills. And I'm just thinking, because I know exactly who I am, I know that I'm a woman of God. I know that I'm all of these things that God intended me to be. I'm worthy because God created me. I am a child of God. I am living in my purpose. I know what my purpose is. I know where my future is headed, even though I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I know that God is going to continue to use me. I know that I'm intended to speak life into other people, to inspire them, to motivate them in one way or another, to make them feel like they're not alone, to let them know that everything is going to be okay. I know all of these things about myself. And I know that I don't want to settle for anything less than what God intended for my life. I know when I meet a guy, I want him to be about that life, to be pursuing me, to really be intentional about his life, and to have some kind of game plan for what his future looks like. To be a kind-hearted individual who really is about that life, like who really is interested in me, not just sees me and is like, oh, she looks good. Hey, mom, or hey, beautiful, or I don't mind people saying hey beautiful because it is a nice thing to say. I just like I I really I really felt like I was ready, I was good. I'm out here. I know exactly what it is that I want, what I won't settle for, and I didn't expect good guys not to try me, but I thought that I would be stronger. And I wasn't. I was so weak because of the things that happened a few days before. And so every time I see this guy now, all I can think of is how weak that he probably thinks that I am because I really just settled in some areas that I really didn't want to. And now it's too late because he thinks that I'm just this weak woman who who just is going to settle for anything because once you settle for one thing, they just assume that you'll settle for everything and they never want to put forth any initiative ever again. And so it's just, I just didn't expect for myself to lower my standards at all because I know what I want. I didn't expect for myself to be so easily influenced. I didn't expect for myself to be afraid at all. I thought that I was ready and I was good to go. Like I could just be myself, be normal, and, whatever happens, happens. I didn't expect that I would meet someone who was actually a nice person who would actually be interested. I thought that I would only meet horrible people who were going to try to use me and not want anything but to, get something from me. And I mean, they all want something, but I don't mean it like when I say that, I don't mean it like I'm trying to, categorize everyone or something like that. I'm just saying that everyone does want something, but what they really truly want or what they really truly do to get to know you or whatever else is what really counts. And so I just I didn't expect to come off so weak because I'm this strong woman. So I really disappointed myself so much. And you can't change the past. And so the one good guy I'll never be able to get with. I mean, of course, there'll be several other guys that will come eventually, but it really sucks that the way that I handled the whole situation sucks. It was horrible. And I think that we have to give ourselves the grace and to not beat ourselves up when we do things the wrong way. And it wasn't that I didn't want to set standards. I just felt so insecure in the moment because I was exchanging stuff. I had a conversation with my ex 2 days before, and it kind of left me raw and vulnerable and feeling a certain type of way. I didn't feel like I wanted him or anything like that, but I also felt like the healing, like it picked on an old scab or something, if that makes any sense. Like when it's you're healing and you're like the scab's over it, it's pretty much healed. You got that one piece of skin on the end, and because it's healing, it itches or something. So he was like that itch that I scratched on my leg or what or wherever the scab was, and it like peeled back the scab and left it open, if that makes any sense. And so while I was sitting there, I kind of felt like, have I really changed? I started questioning myself and I started feeling like, am I really healed? Am I really ready for this? Am I ready to go on a date or meet someone or anything else? Like I just kept feeling really a lot like I was really, really questioning myself in that moment. And it wasn't that I had old feelings come up or anything like that. I just felt like, okay, good riddance. I mean, not in like a mean way or anything. Just like, I mean, how can you say good riddance in a nice way? But but I really truly didn't mean it like, oh, good riddance, goodbye, sayonara, see you later. Who cares? I didn't mean it like in that way. I just meant, all right, adios. you know, like not see you later, but goodbye. And so I'm sitting there and I just feel completely vulnerable and raw. And it probably was a horrible idea to go on a date 2 days later or meet up with someone 2 days later when I really felt that way about myself. And I think that left me open to lowering my standards. It left me open to feeling like not as confident because I felt like, well, this one relationship's over. How do I know I'm not gonna ruin every relationship now? You know, even though I didn't ruin that one, that was just, life happened and toxic and, you wanted to have a healthy relationship and, I just moved on. It wasn't like that. But in the moment I really felt like I was beating myself up. I really felt like I just felt like a failure. I really felt like, and this is just me being real, and I know people are going to be like, oh, I don't feel that way. It's fine. It's okay. I'm just venting and I want to be transparent so I can help someone else. It's not that I'm really still thinking I'm a failure or anything like that. Of course, when I do talk to people who are nice, it does make me feel like you seem like a nice person, and then I have to remind myself that I need to just lead with love and kindness and whatever happens, happens. Like I could feel myself tense up in the moment, like so afraid of getting hurt in the moment. And then I realized that if I really want to be in a real relationship, if I really want to meet someone, if I really want to date or whatever else, I have to be willing to give it a chance. I have to be willing, if I feel like I still want love, I have to put myself out there. I can't just guard myself off and lock myself in a room and just be me and God and just not ever date anybody ever again just because. Like, I mean, I thought about that in the beginning. I was like, I'm just gonna, just be like a hermit or something. Go into like I don't know if it's a convent. what is it called with the nuns and stuff? Whatever it was. Like, I really feel like I could have done that in that moment. Like, just if I didn't have a child, that's probably where I would have ended up being, because I would have just been by myself in a church, me and God, and just dedicated my life to God for the rest of, I mean, of course I still dedicate my life to God, and it's not different. It's just I would have been doing more charity and volunteering, and I would have been in a church 24/7, instead of just listening to church almost 24/7. And so I really felt like I was going to do that. And then God put on my heart and was like, I really want you to, you can live in your purpose, but you'll be able to do more with a partner. And I really was like, I feel like God always tries to push you out your comfort zones, because I was feeling so confident and good by myself. I still feel good by myself, but now it's like, now that I know there's a possibility, now it's not hard, it's just more like, I don't know how to describe it. It's different. It's like I feel like, and I know this is all like me because I just pushed away this person who was a perfectly good human being, which I know you can't do any redos. You can't go back and be like, God, can we just wake up back on, block May 27th, 2020 or something. I can't just say that to God and then go back, rewind, do everything again, and then just be the person that I wanted to be instead of pretending to be something that I'm not. I can't go back and change anything. Now, all I can do is just wait patiently for hopefully the next person to come along whenever God says it's time for that person to come. And I don't know why I keep saying it like that. I know God's got a time and a place for everything, and everything that He wants for your life will just flow. It's not that I will have to do anything out of the way or be anything but myself. It's just, I don't want to say, I really don't want to like God to punish me when I say this. And I don't mean it in like I'm getting on God kind of way, because we both know God is all powerful and He's everything to me. I don't mean it in that way, but in this season, I feel more annoyed than anything else. And I feel like I can be real enough to say that, because I'm not going to be the person that sits here and says, it's all in God's timing. Like, it is in His timing. I'm not playing, I'm not going to like try to condemn those people or make them feel bad for saying things like that, because I think that that gives some people hope. But for people like me, I think it's important to be real and transparent and to say it feels annoying in the season. It really, and it's not any dig at God at all, because God is everything. And He constantly keeps blessing me. And it's not that I mean, of course, I need a guy to fulfill my purpose, but it's not that I need someone at a time that God didn't expect or want it to happen in my life. Nothing like that. I want it to be on God's time and with the person that God wants it to be. I absolutely 100% don't want it to be someone that I chose or that I want for myself, because we know how that worked out. I don't need to choose anybody else because it's going to be a hot mess. So we need to let God take the wheel on this one, on everything. Cause yeah, it's so bad. But yeah. I just have to laugh at myself, because if not, I'll get in my feelings and everything real quick. So I try to stay grateful and happy and realize all of the blessings that I have, so that God can continue to bless me and use me, and know that I'm not just being some ungrateful brat, or He'll know that I'm being a good steward of everything that He's given me, and not just wasting it. I want to I want to make sure that I am using the gifts that He's given me. I'm in my purpose. I'm serving. So He knows that I'm giving glory to Him, and I'm not just being out here feeling bad for myself and miserable at all. And so it really does get annoying though when I'm in this season. It's not just like oh yeah, I'm living, like, I feel fulfilled. And I'm not going to pretend like I feel annoyed all day. It's just like I will be, let's say I had a conversation with one of those people that wanted to say something crazy out their mouth. I don't know why I keep saying it like that. And when I talk to them, I promise you, I don't say it like in this way at all. I say it in a really kind way because I've done a lot of work and and I don't do that anymore. And so so I really do like I'm gentle when I say things. Even if they say something that really is disrespectful or it hurts me or it's rude, I still try to take to be the bigger person and to say it in a gentle and kind way, in a loving way. And I mean, I can be real in a kind way, but and I'm also not for all of the foolishness. And so, and I say foolish because, and not foolish in, letting God take the lead. I mean, foolish in worldly terms, allowing society to manipulate my perspective and make me become a lessened vessel than what God intended for me to be while I'm pursuing my purpose and walking in my destiny, is what I mean. And so when they say things, I say in a very kind way that, I really don't appreciate it when you say that. And going forward, I would appreciate if you would be more respectful. And they either take it or they don't. They either walk away because I don't have the time or the patience for that, because me being able to hold it together in that moment is all God. So hopefully they do the right thing. And if they don't do the right thing, then they're not the right person for me. And so, and I say that a lot, and I said that one time and I didn't mean it, but we're not talking about that time. And so, so I just, whew, it's a trip out here. It's really crazy. It's a lot. And you gotta really mentally prepare yourself for this. Like, no one told me to mentally prepare for dating or anything else. I really just felt like, okay, so confident, so sure of myself. I mean, you should have saw me. I really was super confident. Like I really had this all figured out and I really bombed really badly. I looked horrible, a hot mess. Like it was bad. I didn't do bad on the meetup. I did bad on the conversations. I did bad before the meetup. Like right out of the gate, I messed up already. And I was just like, really? Like so disappointed. Like, how are you gonna mess up that fast? You didn't even get an opportunity to like show somebody that you have standards or anything. You just gonna just fall for the first okey doke, huh? The first magic trick you just done already lost all your money. They done stole your wallet right out your pocket. Like, it was so bad. This is why this is why I'm single in this moment. This is why I haven't met anybody that is actually pursuing me. Because hopefully on the next round, hopefully on the next round, I'll get it together and things will be a little better and I could stick to my standards in the way that I was supposed to from the beginning. I don't know what happened. It's different reading it in a book than being in the real world and doing things for real. And so, and even on these videos, I can sit here and I can be like, oh yeah, when you're out here, make sure you have standards and don't settle for anything because, you know, it'll really keep you on track. It'll keep you doing this and you'll be doing the things that you need to do and blah, 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 blah. And, and I mean that. And I also am human. And so when I get out there and I see someone who is interested in me, who I'm interested in because I like the way that they carry themselves or whatever else, and we have a conversation and we meet up or whatever else, then I don't know if I feel like too, I put my standards in a book and I put it away like a year ago. And yes, I still had like things that I was working on with myself and all these other things. And I knew the things that I was looking for and the type of person that I wanted in my life. But I also did not look at that list for a whole year before I decided to meet up with someone or whatever else. So I went in like a blind uh, uh can't say a blind bat, right? Because bats have some sense of direction in the night and all that and whatever. I don't know. But I went in with blindfolds on. Like I wouldn't want to say those kind of goggles because it wasn't like that. It was more like I had a blindfold on and someone spun me around like we were getting ready for pin the tail on a donkey, and I had to go in a direction that I needed to go to that would be the path that God laid for me, or in the right direction. But instead I ended up going sideways because I was dizzy from from manipulation and from just jumping in with no life jacket. I don't know what in the world was happening, but yeah. Mm. But like I said in the past videos, you have to take it as a lesson, learn the things that you did wrong so that you can do better the next time. It really sucks that I had to lose out on a really good person just to learn that lesson, but it is what it is. That's life. There's nothing that you can do about it. And so just continue to constantly just be the best that you can be. And know that when you make a decision or a mistake in your life, when you mess up, and we will all mess up, we all will. We all will. So it's not just a me thing, it's not just a you thing, it's a everybody thing. It really depends on how we react to the situation after we've made the mistake, the things that we do to rectify the mistake that we've made, the lessons that we learn and we pull from those things is really what will help us make better decisions in the future. And allow we can't allow the mistake to make us. We have to make the mistake better. And so, in conclusion, when we talk about being self aware and not self critical, it's really important for us to realize that we need to be aware of our characteristic traits, the things that we want, the things that we don't want, the things that we like, the things that we don't like, the type of person we want to be perceived as, the type of person we would be proud of, the person. Someone once told me that when you are thinking of you at your best, that's the person that you should strive towards. And I believe that to be true because you can't be anybody else, but no one can be better at you than you. I heard that from someone else as well. That's not my thing. I don't want you to think I'm just like, I just came up with that like that. No, I heard it somewhere. I can't remember who said it, but it was not me. And so, so we really do have to be aware of our quirks, be aware of the type of person we want to be perceived as, how we want to present ourselves, what we want to look like, what we want to talk like. And I mean, talk like yourself. But if you are learning better ways to communicate, then utilize those in the conversations. Utilize those every day so that you can work on your communication skills to be a better communicator if that's what you desire. And even when it comes to taking courses or doing other things like that, just to be able to be more educated, to learn more things, to be a more well-rounded individual. Those are things that you can do in the time that you are in your single season, or even if you're in a relationship. It's always good to grow and become better. And and I think that we all need to keep in mind that although we are being self-aware, we are not being self-critical. We are not criticizing ourselves because of the mistakes that we've made, because we're going to make them. We are not beating up on ourselves or talking down to ourselves or speaking negatively. Yes, it might have been an awesome, amazing guy who was everything that you could have ever imagined for your list, who looked incredible, who talked incredible, who was kind, who was kind-hearted, who at their core had the same values that you did. But there will be other people that have those things. Don't feel like this is the only guy in the world. The other day I was watching a TG video and he said something like, you're worried about this one person when there's more than that many people in the world, or in the US, or something like that is what he said. And he's like, look up online how many men there are in the world. And he's like, half of those men are single. And so I know I said this mostly for ladies, but I feel like men could use this as well, because don't get weary in well doing. Don't allow your thought process on ruining a date or something with an actual good woman make you feel like there's no other good women out there. Yes, there are a lot of people that will settle, but the woman that's for you will be there. You just have to be patient and be willing to wait for her. And don't feel like you have to just jump into something just because it's been a while and you just feel like, well, she's bad, I'm just gonna get with her. Like, when you do that, you might be missing your opportunity because the person might have been right around the corner, but you stopped right at that street because you didn't see it coming. And so, so when I looked up, yeah, I actually did this because, I'm always trying to figure out more information. When people say a word that I don't know the definition of, I look it up online. I research it in Webster's encyclopedia, dictionary. I look it up in the dictionary. I research it on different like web pages that are actually plausible, that are actually like really good, not just like a random like abc.com or something like that. It's really like some sort of Psychology Today or some type of article or something that has some sort of substance to it that's really been thoroughly researched is where I would find my information when there's a term that I don't know. And yes, I go through all of that because I'm extra sometimes. And it works out for the good and bad because sometimes, you know, my personality could be more like, I know exactly what I want. This is what I would need. And someone else could be like, whoa, you know, I just want to do blah. And I don't have a problem going with the flow in a direction. I'm not just going to be all over the place going in circles because you don't have your life figured out. That's not what I want. And that's not what I would settle for. We both have a common goal. We're equally yoked, and you have something that you're pushing towards, regardless of how it's going to happen, because I don't even know how things are going to happen in my life. I could never plan for it. Emergencies happen. You can have an emergency fund, but you don't know that emergency's coming. So when I looked up how many men were in the US, it's over 300 million. So it's 150 million single men in the US. So this one person is not going to rectify. They're not going to. Why do I want to say rectify again? It's on my mind. But this one person is not going to determine your entire life. They're not going to make you or break you. They're not going to stop God's plan. If God intended for you guys to be together, regardless of what you did, it will work out in one way or another. Maybe not now, maybe later, who knows? But and you also have to remember that there's way too many men in the world for you to focus on this one guy. It's hard. The first time you hear it, you're going to want to cry. Go ahead and cry it out. Feel your emotion because you don't want to bottle it up and then be like kirking out on somebody or getting angry or something in one moment because you didn't deal with your emotions. Deal with it, pause the video, go to the side, take a moment for yourself when nobody's there. Like, just go ahead, cry in the shower, whatever you got to do so that the raindrops will hide your teardrops. And I don't know why that popped in my head, but whatever you got to do, listen to the music, listen to some kind of inspirational music or relaxing music, listen to gospel that helped me, and cry it out. Cry it out because you messed up and you know you can't turn back time. It's okay. And now that you finished crying and you came back and you push play on this video, know that everything is going to be okay. Speak life into yourself. Know that you are incredible. You are smart. You might not be perfect, but you are everything God created you to be. There's not one person. There is not one person who can make you who you are. Only God created you to be exactly who you are, and not one person can tell you who they want you to be. You are who God created you to be. You can't allow this one guy or woman to make you start doubting yourself or make you start feeling like you need to settle for anything less than what God intended for your life. Do not allow this one person to manipulate your mind and your spirit and make you turn into the person that you used to be. Do not allow them to make you think that nothing's possible when God makes a way out of no way. Do not make them think that you do not let them think that they can control your spirit and turn you into a nasty person who's hopeless because you messed up one situation. That's one situation out of millions of other opportunities that you're going to get in your life. Your heart is still pure. You are still a loving and kind person. You don't have to turn your heart cold because of one person. You can still be loving and kind and joyous because God brings joy to your life. When you know God, there is joy in everything because you're so grateful, because you're blessed, because of the things that He's given you in your life. There is still hope. Their hope does not end because of 1 to 1,000 men or women. Hope continues to push forward and move and go on throughout your life. Do you see people in the sick bed, on their deathbed, with a doctor telling them that they have 1 day to live or 3 months to live, they'll live another 13 years? It's because they are completely blessed, and because no one can tell you what your end story is going to be. One person can't determine your story for you. Only God can do that. And so when you give somebody else the power, you're telling them that they're bigger than God, and nobody is bigger than God. Nobody's bigger than my God. And so while you might feel down, while you might feel discouraged, or you might feel in your feelings because you don't understand why someone wouldn't like you and it's a big ego hit or whatever else, put your ego aside and realize that you're human just like everybody else. And you might be a great person. You might be godly. You might be joyous, happy. You might be living in your purpose. But you are still going to have to deal with real life stuff. And that's okay. Everything is going to be okay. Everything is going to be okay. I promise you. This is just one moment in your life, just like the other moments that God has already brought you through. If you remember that, that will carry you into your next season.